Welcome back to the Golf A Lot YouTube channel. Georgina here, and today I've got my hands on the new TaylorMade Spyder Tour putters. Now obviously these putters are iconic. Everybody's heard of the Spyder brand, and for almost 2 decades now these putters have been helping pros get wins across the tour, and I want to know what makes them so popular and so great that so many people are gravitating towards these putters. Recently, we've even seen the likes of Scottie Scheffler move from a Scotty Cameron to these putters, and I want to know why that's the case. So within the Spyder Tour putters, we've got 4 different head shapes, and today we've got 2 of them to test out at each end of it. So we've got the very classic Spyder Tour design. This is the traditional Spyder shape that we've all been used to, and a completely new shape with the Tour Z putter head. So before we get on to testing these putters, I want to give you guys a first look at them, starting off with the classic Spyder design that we've all seen before. Now, looking at the head cover, it's a very big head cover. As we can see, we've got this nice black, white and grey overall theme to it. Going on to the actual putter head, again, that same sort of colour theme just continues throughout it, even along the grip and the shaft, which makes for a very nice cohesive design. And what I do really like about this is that when you're looking at it just at address, it's very simple. It's just the black and the white without the added pops of colour that we can see under the putter head. Okay, so now going on to the Spyder Tour Z model. This is a brand new shape for the Spyder putters. As you can see, you've got the same colour scheme and the same design as we saw in the classic Spyder, but what is different here is this putter is not quite as bulky. It's a little bit sleeker throughout the putter head. For me personally, I've never really liked the look of the Spyder putters that much because they are just so big and so bulky. So for me, this little sleeker design on the Z shape I think looks a lot nicer. But what I will say with both putters, that black and white colour scheme gives it a very premium feel to it, which I really like throughout both of the putters. Okay, so we're going to start off by hitting some just standard 10-foot putts. I've got the classic model first up, so let's see how we get on. So initial thoughts with this, something that I am finding a little bit strange. I do like the fact that the alignment line goes all the way across to the putter head, but we've kind of got these little wings going on with the white bit, which to me just looks a little bit funny, so I'm finding it difficult to align the ball directly to the hole. Now, something that I am noticing with these putts is that the ball is coming off the face very, very soft. What we see with this standard putter is that the weights are at the back of the putter head, which just means that it's coming off very gentle, and you almost feel as though you have to put quite a bit into it to actually get the ball to the hole. Now, I do have to mention that before we came and filmed this video, literally 5 minutes before we turned up, there was a huge downpour. So even though these greens have been nicely cut, they are a little bit slow. And just with this putter, what I'm finding is that you are really having to put a little bit more behind it to get the ball to the hole. So just be aware that if you're a golfer that is playing on slower, maybe more wetter greens, this might not be the right putter for you. However, what we know with the Z putter is that the weights are closer to the face, so we should be able to get the ball going a little bit faster, and maybe we won't have that problem with that putter. So let's find that out. So we've got pretty much the same putt, but we're going to try it out with the Z putter to see if these putts feel a little bit different off the face. Ah, problem solved. Okay, so straight away I'm feeling a lot better with the Z putter. Even though this and the standard Tour model have the same face inserts, the weights are moved further towards the face, which for me just gives me a better strike, and I feel a lot more confident with this putter. Okay, so I'm quite liking the Z model with the shorter putts. So what we're going to do now, we have found the longest possible putt we can on this green. It's about 50 foot, and with the weights being that bit further forward in this putter, it's acting almost more like the feel of a blade would. There's not the same amount of forgiveness there, so it'll be interesting to see how we're getting on with this really long uphill putt. So wish me luck, because this one's going to need a bit of a whack to actually get it there. So definitely in comparison to the shorter putts we were doing before, I'm finding it a lot harder to hit this putter and get a nice connection going with the really long putts. As we said, it's not got that much forgiveness in it with the face of the putter, with it being a little bit more like a blade than the standard version. It just means there's a little bit more room for error on these really long putts. So now let's do exactly the same thing with the standard putter. It's got higher MOI, it should be a little bit more forgiving, so let's see if we can get those a little bit closer. Straight away, this definitely feels a lot more forgiving and a lot more consistent than the Z model was feeling on those longer putts. That one was pretty good. I'll take that one, I'll take that. So as you can see with these 3 putts, I managed to get the Spyder Tour putter a lot closer on the longer putts than with the Z model. Like we said, with this putter, we've got the weights further back, it's a lot more forgiving with a higher MOI. So if you're somebody that maybe struggles a little bit with the longer putts, this might be a better option to try out than the Z model. So now onto some shorter putts. As we all know, one of the most frustrating things is missing some of those short putts out on the course. So this is going to be a really important test. And first up is the Spyder Tour model. Can't ask for much more than that, to be fair. So I felt really good with the Spyder Tour model. Now it's time to see how the Z performs. So 3 short putts with both putters, all of them hold. Feeling pretty happy with these for the shorter putts. So thank you so much to everybody who has watched this video so far, and thank you to all of the comments that I've received over the past few weeks. It's really great having all of your guys' support. So if you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe to the Golf A Lot YouTube channel. If you've enjoyed the video so far, make sure to drop a like and hit the notification bell so that you see videos from us first. So as we've already touched on a few times in this video, there's loads of tech packed into these putters. So if you want to know a little bit more about that, there's a full rundown of all the technologies in my written review, so make sure you check that out on golfalot.com. So we've hit loads of putts with both of the putters. We've had short putts, long putts, all of them. So I think I'm just about ready to let you guys know my thoughts on these. Now, as always, to come to a verdict, we judge our clubs on 4 different categories. So that's looks, feel, performance, and value for money. Now, because we've got 2 putters, we're going to be going through those categories, comparing the 2 to each other, but giving the score as an overall on the Spyder Tour range. So starting off with looks, as I said earlier on, I've not been the biggest fan of the Spyder putters previously because they're very big and very bulky. But what I do like is that with the Z model, they've gone away from that classic shape and made it a little bit sleeker and a bit more refined. So for that reason, I do prefer that putter to the standard one. But what I do like throughout the range is that they've stuck to this black and white colour scheme with just those small amounts of extra colour throughout, which for me just really elevates the Spyder putter compared to previous Spyder models that we've seen. So what TaylorMade have done with this range is they've done a great job of making sure that there's the variation there. So if you're somebody that wants a putter that comes off very soft, you can look more at the standard model. But if you want it coming off that little bit hotter, you can use the Z model instead. So even though I'm not used to using the Super Stroke grip, these putters come with a Super Stroke Pistol 1.0 grip on them, which I thought did feel really nice, had a really soft feel to it, and gave an overall premium feel to these putters. So going on to performance, initially with the shorter putts, I was definitely preferring the Z model. However, what we found with those longer putts is that the amount of forgiveness just wasn't quite there as we saw with the standard model, so I was definitely preferring that one there. And as a person who plays a lot of links golf with bigger greens, for me it's really important to have a putter that I'm comfortable with for the longer putts. And what I just think is really interesting is that even within the same range, there's a lot of variation there between the feel, the forgiveness, and it just shows how important it is to go and get these tested and see which one fits right for you. So finally, coming on to value for money, these putters are coming in with an RRP of £299. But there is a second option to get these customized in terms of the colour and the face insert, which I think is quite cool, and that would come in at £349. And obviously with the putter being so personal, you might be somebody who wants to go for that customization to just get yourself feeling ultra comfortable with that club. But in terms of the normal price of £299, with the putter market going absolutely crazy recently, we've seen it in pro shops, we've seen it online, you could be looking to pay almost £400 for some putters. But for a putter that comes across with quite a premium feel, I would say that £299 isn't a bad price point for these to be coming in at. So this has been my review on the Spyder Tour putters, and I'm sure a lot of you guys will have used Spyder putters in the past, so I want to know what you think. Do you like the look of these? Do you prefer the looks of them to some of the older models? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, if you want to read my full written review on these putters, you can find that on the Golf A Lot website, and I'll see you guys in the next video.